This great big gap that's been driven between the business world and the employees and all those people that make it work through a variety of things: culture, contracts, disagreements, pride, greed, just a host of things. And there's probably a reason for that causes this little thing called presentism. And I think it's an ugly word, and it's probably the greatest thief of all times. But we know what it is. It's the 80-20 rule, which it produces, meaning 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. That means the other 80% of the people only do 20% of the work. And one has got to ask why that takes place when we're trying to put this whole thing together. And that comes to a pretty interesting point for me, because it seems like trauma is at the heart of it. Meaning, first of all, we really are social beings, and yet our educational system and our churches and our government tell us to stay out of each other's lives. And that really seems so antinomian to me, because I like people. I like to listen to their needs and how they explain their life. So this thing called self-regulation comes into play, and perseverance and concentration. And when you see what trauma does to people in their life, it creates a lot of anger. And a lot of it is created because people have been abandoned. And that's the issue, is in abandonment. And I see kids just sitting around a table with their iPhones. They don't talk to each other. They don't communicate, exchange thoughts. And by their own definition, there is a certain form of abandonment there, and insecurity, and that just seems to grow. So what we would like to do at Torah, that's the world that I live in, because it has been so misapplied, misunderstood. And when you can change the meaning of a word, you can change a culture. And here's a word that means covenant. It means the character of God. It means love. It means yoke. It just has so many meanings to it. But one of the key words that it has, it means truth. And to establish this thing called obedience and freedom, we really need responsibility. They seem to go together. And so in my presentation here of what we're going to get into, where did I get my information after all of these years? Well, this little book had been kept away from me. Even though I was brought up in this world for years and years and years, it still separated me from its foundation. And then all at once I got to looking at really what its foundation was. And within that, I found some very unusual things. And to start it off, excuse me, I'm going to read Proverbs 1:3, and it says, I want you to be intelligently disciplined so that first you can be right. How really neat is that? To be just and to be fair. And it's with that, I started in that proverb, and then I got into the book of Psalms in chapter 119, in and about the verse 49 or 59, I'm sorry. It says, I saw your truths, and I turned my feet toward your instructions. And it really goes on to say, I didn't wait. I just kind of plodded along rather than believing and having the trust in that word. And so that's with what I'm going to try to do, is explain how this gap can be closed. And we can eliminate that presentism and the trauma that goes with it, the things that causes trauma. Once we've got that done, there's nothing but clear sailing, clear skies, and that's kind of a lie, because we're always going to have problems. But I think you'll see my intent and my findings, and I think that you'll agree with me. It really is the best gift I could ever give.